Hello, good morning. This is Kalyan from Sai Solution, and we have joined today for a live conversation between I and Victoria. I'm just expecting Victoria to join anytime. So today's topic, you can see the description of the session also. Suppression is suppression. So this is a very interesting topic we're going to discuss. Yeah, Victoria has joined, so I'm just transferring the video control. Victoria, if you can hear me, I don't see the video device connected to your profile. Can you just check whether your phone is can you just chat and type and reply if you can hear me, Victoria? And what about others? Ben, SP, can you hear me? Victoria, if you can hear me, just go out of the session and rejoin because your video device is not detected. Victoria, can you go out of the session and rejoin? Okay, great. SP can hear me. Thanks for confirming. I'm just waiting for Victoria. Yeah, now Victoria's video is added. I'm just adding you, Victoria, to the session.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
How you doing?
Great. How are you doing this morning?
This afternoon? Excellent. Thank you. Excellent.
It's chilling there?
Yeah, I've got my long sleeve version on. Last time I had my t-shirt on, it was too cold. So yeah, we're here, and believe it or not, we're here in winter, and we're suffering from it's been a bit overcast and rainy today. So, but our winters are pretty mild. Right. But you know, I still like it hot. I'm thinking of a move to the equator.
Yeah, come to India.
Indeed, I will.
Right. So.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll wait for some time for people to join because we committed 9:30. What is the time now? Yeah, 9:32.
Yep.
So we can start at 9:35. So 2 to 3 minutes we'll wait for others. So others, those who are joining, please stay tuned. You can start asking any question if you feel. Which, if time permits, we'll take it now, or otherwise we'll take it by end of the session.
Yep.
So yeah. Today's session is suppression. Very interesting topic.
Excellent topic.
Find very useful information out of this session for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there are people joining. Nandini has joined. Hi, Nandini. I see my friends. Babon Supriya has joined. Uchat also has joined. Yeah, Pinky, Pramod. Welcome to the session, all of you guys.
Welcome.
Please stay tuned. We are just starting the topic in a while.
We will.
So, yeah, people are joining in. Today is Sunday morning and afternoon at your end, Victoria. So
it is.
People will have a good time to join and clear time, it seems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great topic. It's a topic that to understand health, you really have to understand what actually suppression is. And you have to really understand that cure and suppression are not the same thing. And what the effects that suppression will have on your body if you continue to do it. And a lot of people come to me and they're in whatever, as Kevin Hinton used to say, he's never had a healthy person come. He never had a healthy person come and knock on his door and say, "I'm in excellent health. I'm just popped in for a checkup." When people come to see us, they are invariably unwell, and they want to know why they're unwell. And we tend to see a long history of suppression is what's got them to the state of health they are. Yeah.
I see Russell has joined. Welcome, Russell.
Yeah. Welcome.
Russell Hussain. Yeah, so it's 9:35. Let's start the session.
Let's get it going. Yep.
Yeah, let's get going. So so the topics, I'll just enumerate the topic which I have given in the description of the session also. The topics that we will cover is the definition of suppression, and then a difference between suppression and cure, and the unknowing suppression. This is another important topic. I would request Victoria at that time to explain this, because you do it very excellently during our discussion
the other day.
So and then effect of hi Dr. Kunal, welcome to the session. Thanks for joining.
Welcome.
So effect on toxaemia, effect of suppression on toxaemia.
Yep.
That's the next subtopic. And the fifth topic that we'll pick up, suppression and stimulation, the similarities of suppression and stimulation.
Indeed.
And the progression of toxemia and the connection with the suppression. And how we hasten our demise by adopting suppression, that also we'll touch upon. So first thing first, the definition of suppression. So as I have noted down from Cambridge Dictionary, the definition of suppression is the act of ending something by force. The act of ending something by force, or in other words, the act of preventing something from being seen or expressed or from operating. So from being seen or expressed or from operating. So from here we get a connection with the disease. So in health, what suppression we mean is any symptoms that we are suffering from, we invariably would like to get rid of that symptom, that discomforts, right? So instantly when we opt something to get rid of that symptomatic discomfort, and instantly we get rid of that discomfort, that is what is the suppression that we call. So from here we need to connect the meaning of disease. Disease is a process. Disease is a process to get back to the homeostasis, the neutral condition of the body's operation. So when body is up to get back to that homeostasis because of some problem there inside, it is a process, it is an initiative by the body. When we stop that initiation, then it happens the suppression. It happens to be the suppression. Suppression may give us a pseudo sense of cure, well-being. We term that as cure, but that is not the cure. So simple difference between the suppression and the cure. Suppression can give you the instant pseudo sense of cure, but the curing process, the natural curing process, can never give you the instant relief from the discomfort. Yeah, over to you, Victoria. If you elaborate the difference between suppression and cure.
Yes, and we were talking about this the other day, and I said to understand suppression, the first thing you have to understand is that disease is not this terrible, horrible thing that's, you know, fallen upon you from outside the body, and it's something that we need to fight against, because that really is a medical philosophy. In Nature Cure, we look at disease for what it actually is, and disease is an effort of the organism to overcome a set of circumstances that it is having to be dealing with, you know, because it's we have to look at the cause first and foremost. But we really got to know that any form of disease in the body is actually the body doing its best to overcome whatever has, you know, forced to handle from our diet, from our lifestyle. And it's actually a healing process. Disease is a reparative process. So to try and cure something the body's actually doing is we're trying to alter the body's response. You know, the doctor or the healer, whoever happens to be, decides that they know better than what the body does, and so they're going to do something to you or give something to you. You're going to take something, and it's going to, because they're saying what the body's doing is wrong. In Nature Cure, we say absolutely not. What the body is doing is right action, and it is the body doing its best under the set of circumstances upon which it finds itself. Cure has to involve identifying and removing the cause. If you have a headache and you take a headache tablet, does the headache tablet involve identifying and removing the cause in any way, shape or form? Does the headache tablet provide any one of the 8 requirements for the health of the human organism? Absolutely not. So if you have a headache and you take a headache tablet and your headache goes away, people will say, oh, the headache tablet cured my headache. But we in Nature Cure says no, the headache tablet merely suppressed your headache, and we know for a fact that it won't be long again until you get another headache. If you don't identify, it'd be like, you know, filling a bath. You've got a bath and you've got the tap running into the bath, and you've got a bucket and you're scooping the water out of the bath, but the water keeps coming into the bath. You're never going to empty that bath if you don't turn. What's filling the bath? There's the tap. So we have to go to the source. We go to the what is the cause. So the difference between cure and suppression. Suppression looks at a symptom and it deals only with that symptom. And its whole endeavour is to make that symptom go away, and preferably go away as quickly as possible, because let's face it, none of us like to live in pain or discomfort or irritation. And so when we have some sort of, you know, something upsetting us physically in our body, we will tend to reach for the first thing that will make that go away, and that is suppression. And suppression is not cure. We must look to causes and identify causes and remove causes. I mean, that's basic science. You know, science says we reason from cause to effect. The effect is only the symptom. The symptom is merely the outside expression of what is going on inside the organism. And if we suppress something over here, it's just going to pop up over here. And that's what we see in suppression. Well, you know, suppression temporarily, you know, will make a symptom go away and then it will come back again. Or it will convert one symptom into a different symptom. So there's a lot of very interesting case studies in a lot of the Nature Cure study of people using various modalities of healing and seeing one symptom just convert itself into another symptom. And often the symptoms, they just get worse and worse. So, yeah.
On the topic of cause, it reminds me, you know, Victoria, like we often start considering effects as cause also. So that's another problem in understanding the health. For example, the deficiency. The deficiency is a reality. Deficiency could be there of different elements in our blood if we test. But the deficiency is the effect of toxemic state of the health. Correct. It is not the cause of the health. So when we consider the effect as cause and we try to suppress that effect, it is another misunderstanding.
Absolutely. Same with constipation. You know, constipation is not the disease. Constipation is the effect of the disease. And so, you know, if we start taking preparations to try and get our bowels moving, we are just going to make the situation so much worse. You know, constipation is a real classic example of something where we really, really, really have to strike at. You have to go to the cause with that. Otherwise, you are just going to lead yourself to just a weakened and debilitated state that's going to be worse and worse and very, very difficult to
a bad colon is the effect. A bad colon is not the cause of the bad health.
No,
it is an effect of bad health.
Absolutely. And so whether we take a laxative, use an enema, whatever, we're doing absolutely nothing whatsoever to to identify and deal with the cause. So disease continues, and as my very excellent colleague KALYAN said at the very start, you know, disease is a process. I think you'll hear us say that 10,000 times if you keep listening to us. Because disease, you really have to understand.
While discussing about
disease is a process.
About these effects, the effects, we have actually started the topic, which is unknowing suppression. So suppressions commonly is known as just taking medicine is a suppression. It's a common belief or understanding, but which is not the only suppression. So let's hear from Victoria about other suppressions, which are unknowing suppressions.
Absolutely not. If we are, for example, if we raise a fever, if we keep eating food, that will suppress the fever. If we keep going about our daily business, that will suppress the fever. If we hop into a cold shower when we have a fever, that will suppress the fever. You know, we always say we never use hydrotherapy when we have fever. If we use an enema when we have a fever, what will that do? It will bring the temperature down. That is suppression. Do we want to bring, again, the body is doing the right thing. We must absolutely accept that the body is doing the right thing, and we must work with the body, not against the body. It's like if somebody's got a pain in their shoulder and it's all knotted up and it's all pain. Well, there's just a localized area of waste material sitting there. We could send you off to a masseuse and get them to massage you and disperse that, and it'll just send it somewhere else. And then maybe in 24 hours, it'll just be straight back again. So there's many ways that we can suppress, you know, it can be pharmaceutical drugs, it can be herbs, tinctures, homeopathics, anything that you do that simply addresses removing the symptom is suppression. So,
so anything that we opt to stop the initiative of the body.
That's it.
The body has taken the initiative to throw out the toxin in any means, any disease. The objective of the body is to throw out the toxin. So
absolutely.
Anything that we do against it, it is suppression.
Absolutely. And for example, you know, the body will always send the waste material, send the toxins as far away from the vital organs as possible. The idea, the body in its infinite wisdom is trying to get the toxins out of the circulatory flow. And so when we use suppressants and indeed stimulants, depending on what the symptom is, we basically force the waste material back into the circulatory flow. So we exhaust the organism, we waste the nerve force, and no one gets well. So
people actually are joining. Nihar has joined, Saurav, my friend Damodaran has joined, Asutosh Rai, Steve Revington has joined, Girija Kiran has joined, Lokesh has joined, Professor Chari, it's a privilege to have you, ma'am, here.
Welcome.
Pratibha has joined. Good morning, Pratibha. Yeah.
Absolutely, welcome. So yes, so you must understand that cure and suppression are completely different, and when the body presents with a symptom, it is a sign of the body trying to get rid of the waste material. It's a sign of the body doing its best to maintain its homeostasis under the situation that it finds itself. As KALYAN said once beautifully, that it is a lovable initiative of the body. So it is, absolutely.
So the effect on toxaemia is the topic that we need to discuss now, is the effect of suppression on toxaemia. So what is toxaemia, if you can explain to us, Victoria?
Toxaemia is a state of altered blood and tissues within the organism, and we are always producing biological waste material in the organism, the very existence, very life, metabolism, you know, anabolism building up, catabolism breaking down. So even if you lived in the absolute perfect state of health, there's always going to be waste material generated in the organism that must be voided from the organism as pretty much as quickly as it's made it. We need to get it out. When we, for some reason, have our nerve force lowered, we no longer have enough nerve force to eliminate the volume of waste material that is in the system, then that waste material has to start building up in the organism to an abnormal state, to an unhealthy state, and that is toxemia. And in Nature Cure we say toxemia is the cause of all disease. We don't say, you know, in medicine they have a massive dictionary of all the different diseases they say there is. We don't say we say there's one disease. The one disease is toxemia. And all of those things that medicine will say are the various different diseases, they are not. They are just the symptoms of toxemia. And so whilst they try and deal with all these different symptoms, we just
I'd like to repeat for the audience. Yeah. I'd like to repeat for the audience what Victoria has said, that when we actually undergo certain circumstances, when we experience lack of nerve forces, the nerve forces will not be able to eliminate the toxic material that will anyway occur inside the body. That time we retain the toxin, and that is the state of toxemia.
Absolutely.
Now, when we undergo this state of toxemia or the toxin accumulation, the body will try to throw that toxemia, and for that body will try to conserve vitality from many means, and it will give us the indication also to do so. And those indications are nothing we call disease. Maybe we may raise our temperature and have a fever, and that is the initiative of the body.
Absolutely.
Toxemic state.
Absolutely.
Right? And if we suppress that, then what will happen?
You get sicker, to put it in a nutshell. Yes. Absolutely.
That's the chronification.
Yeah, you know, and this is what I really love about Nature Cure. You know, Nature Cure, we can explain everything, whereas in medicine they try and blame germs for all acute diseases, which is where there's a raise of the temperature, where then it doesn't matter, they've got a million different acute.
A related question has come.
Yeah.
A related question has come. May I take it?
Yes.
Yeah. So SP asked that drinking enough water at the time of fever, will it support body to remove toxin from the body?
No.
What's your take?
No. Well, when you say drinking enough water, that's a really interesting one, because at no time do we ever drink water for the sake of drinking water. We never flush the kidneys. The kidneys are not a toilet. So if you continue to drink more water than what is biologically indicated by thirst at any stage, whether you're in a fever or not, the body will then be forced to use its nerve force to void that excess water from the system. And we see in urine analysis, if a person's been drinking lots of water, there's no more solid matter in that. You know, they might pass this much urine, and somebody who's just drinking to thirst might pass this much urine. There's no more solid matter in somebody who's been drinking lots of water, and that's what the kidneys are designed to do. They're designed to filter out solid waste material from the bloodstream. So that's what we have to look at. So when somebody has a fever, absolutely never would you say to them, keep your fluids up. I mean, obviously we don't want the person to dehydrate excessively so, but anytime you go through a fever, you are going to dehydrate to a certain extent. But even then you drink according to thirst. You might go 24 hours and have no thirst whatsoever. In fact, I find that myself quite often at the start of a fever. I take nothing in for 24 hours or more until my body indicates that right now it actually is starting to feel thirsty. And then you sip water, enough to sate your thirst. You don't gulp it down. Absolutely. So yeah, a lot of people
to
think
answer,
that. Yeah.
honor the voice of the organism.
Always.
Honor your voice of the organism.
Absolutely.
Always and always.
Absolutely. Because most especially
so
when you're in a
also,
fever.
sip water.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Most especially if you're in a fever, your body is really, your voice of your organism speaking to you loudly when you're in a fever. And if you're thirsty, well, drink. Absolutely drink if you're thirsty. But if you're not, don't think you need to keep.
Better word is the sip water.
Sip water, absolutely, which we always say sip.
Overburden
Indeed,
your.
Absolutely. That's it. Absolutely. So, but what effect does suppression have on toxemia? The suppression is the effect is that you have this buildup of waste material in some manner. Your body's trying to get rid of that, whether it's a skin rash, whether it's the lungs and you're coughing up lots of waste material, whether you've got some heavy vaginal discharge. The body will use any and every orifice to get rid of this waste material, whether it's the sinuses. If you take something, for a start, every drug is poisonous. It will add to the state of toxemia in itself. But not only that, it's going to suppress the body trying to get rid of the waste material. It's like when if we just look at fever, for example. The fever is the initiative of the body. It's an extraordinary effort of the body to the heat liquefies the waste material, sends it to the organs of elimination. Your body is using all of its nerve force to do this. It's a massive effort of the body. If you take something to stop the fever, then the body will be forced to lay it down. Now, as I said, your body's using all of its nerve force to create this fever. And if you keep eating food, if you keep going to work, if you keep ignoring the body, you're going to suppress it. Or if you take a medication, you're going to suppress it. So the body will then be forced to lay that waste material down. And time and time again, we force the body to retain, think of it, we force the body to retain this waste material that it's been trying to get rid of for ages, for years, and on it goes. And then eventually we get a state where the body can no longer raise a fever, when we no longer have enough nerve force to get that temperature over 37 or over degrees Celsius, which is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. And we take a person's temperature when we do a diagnosis. They come into, if the person's temperature is very low, we know their vitality is very low. We know there's been a lot of suppression going on here. And so the person no longer has enough nerve force to raise this fever, and they are what we would call chronic.
Yes.
Now, the medicine will try and use germs to explain why people have acute diseases. And when we say to them, well, then why do people have chronic diseases? They say, well, it's just some people get them and other people don't. They really can't give you an exact reason as to, which is totally unscientific. So the fact of the matter is,
so I tell you, being healthy is not a lucky draw.
No.
Being healthy is not a lucky draw at all. It is your responsibility to be healthy.
Absolutely.
So the chronic disease is your responsibility. You have done it to yourself. Now
Absolutely.
you have to reverse, and reversal is very easy again. As in the acute state, as Victoria mentioned, that acute state, body is up to throw out the toxin, and it needs a lot of vitality, and you need to rest. Rest physically, rest physiologically, rest psychologically. So physically, you don't go for work. Physiologically, don't eat anything during the body is working to throw out the toxin. And psychologically also, you need to conserve a lot of vitality. Now, in the chronic stage also, you need to actually consult with your health practitioner, ideally nature cure practitioner, and just devise a conservation of vitality strategy for you,
Absolutely.
which is very progressive in nature.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what. So the vitality conservation is the only responsibility to take care of.
For sure. Dr. John Hilton, many, many years ago, brilliant saying, pain is the monitor, rest is the cure. So this is absolutely it. And unfortunately, Nature Cure has been known to be called the rest cure, but also they say the do nothing So
right. Ravi has joined. Shravan has joined. Yeah, hi Ravi. Thanks for the good word. Ravi says, hi Kalyan, keep up the good work. Yeah, thank you. Thanks Ravi. Ravi is my Air Force mate. So we worked together during my Air Force days. Shravan is my school friend. Yeah, thanks guys for joining. Right, now next is the similarity between suppression and stimulation. Victoria, over to you.
Well, suppression and stimulation really are one and the same, aren't they? I mean, really, you're responding to something the body's doing. If an organ is overreacting, or if it's overstimulated, then they'll give us something to suppress it. If a skin is throwing the waste material out and we have this horrible big rash up our arm, then they'll put some preparation on it that will suppress that, throw that waste material back into the body. The other way about it is stimulation, where if an organ is sluggish, if for some reason the heart is not beating at the right rate, if the kidneys are slow in their function, if they're the liver, the circulation, whatever, if anything is not the thyroid, if anything's not keeping up to the pace that it's supposed to be keeping up to, then they'll give us something that will stimulate the organism. So they'll force the organ or the system or whatever's going on, they'll force it to respond in the way they think it should be responding, as opposed to going, okay, well, why is this organ not responding in the way it's supposed to be responding? Why is the body not secreting the correct level of hormones that it should be secreting, etc.? So we'll just stimulate the organ to do what it's not doing itself naturally, without identifying anything to do with cause. And this really, stimulation is a massive problem in our society at the moment. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said to me, well, Nature Cure is not for everyone. Nature Cure only works for some people. And I said to her, well, that's not true. Nature Cure works for everybody. And she said, yes, but Nature Cure only works for those people who have time for Nature Cure. And I said, well, this is not correct. She said, my life is so busy. I have to go to work. I have to spend a lot of hours in the traffic. I get home. I've got to make a meal for my children. She said, I have no time, for anything else. And by the time, she said, and so I need coffee to keep me going, and I need meat to keep me going. So I said to her, and so let's use the analogy of the lone rider out on the prairie, and he's been on his horse for days, and he's trying to find his way to the nearest township, and the horse is getting more and more tired, and then he digs his big long spurs into the side of the horse to make that horse move quicker. And so for a distance, that horse moves quicker because he's just been stimulated by the dig of those long spurs. And then in a short time, the horse falls down dead, completely exhausted. There is nothing left. So, and that is absolutely exactly what you are doing when you are stimulating yourself, whether it be a coffee to get, people say to me, oh, I can't get going in the morning without a coffee. And I'm like, oh, that's really frightening. And they don't even think of that, like you should, if you are in a state of health. Actually, I was talking to a doctor a week or so ago, and I said to her, just happened to meet this doctor somewhere, and I said to her, I get out of bed feeling great every morning. I have wonderful energy. And she said to me, nobody comes into my clinic and says that to me. She sort of almost looked at me with a little bit of a jealous look on her face. But that's health. Health is that we can get up and go about our normal daily business naturally and normally. We don't need anything to help us to do what the body should automatically do, and that really is health, And
what I see here is a primary superstition that that we can get vitality from outside.
Yes,
it's scientific. It's completely against the science, against the physics, against the thermodynamics. We cannot get vitality for ourselves from external.
Absolutely.
Neither food, nor
Absolutely.
magnet, not nothing.
Nothing.
Vitality cannot be enhanced.
That's what I said to the lady who was saying to me, "Oh, I need coffee and I need meat." And I said, "Well, fine."
Coffee
I said,
cannot give you the energy.
No. I said, "Well, fine."
Yes.
I said, "But don't for 1 minute think that the coffee or the meat or the sugar or whatever you're using is giving you energy. It is not giving you any energy. The only thing it's doing is stimulating the organism, forcing it to work in a manner in which it actually naturally on its own can't, because there's such a reduction of vitality in that organism. And the only thing a person does by using stimulants, by using suppressants, is basically hastening their demise. You know, you are bringing the last breath closer. You are bringing your terminal breath just that little bit closer to you, really.
Pretty close.
And that's it. That's all you're doing. You know, you are bringing forward your date with departure when you suppress the organism and when you stimulate the organism. So it all comes back to...
Definitely it's not an endeavor to scare you guys that you are hastening your demise by opting stimulation, but definitely the endeavor is to make you aware about the vitality and vitality management of yours.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot get vitality from external any substance or anything.
No.
It is within you. You have to take the responsibility to manage your vitality. Yeah, Herman has joined. Herman is one of my mentors, in fact, in my life.
Welcome,
so Herman, thanks for joining, Herman Singh. So
welcome.
It's a privilege to have you in the session. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, Victoria. Go on.
So we
have covered the subtopics, all the subtopics, in fact, hastening of demise. So we welcome any questions if you have. For next
please.
5 to 10 minutes we'll be spending for your questions.
Absolutely.
We'll call it a day.
Yeah. So but you've really got to understand that disease is a process, and it starts with irritation, and then if the cause remains in effect, then after a time we're going to start to see inflammation. And if the cause remains in effect, after a time we're going to see ulceration. And if the cause remains in effect, after another length of time we're going to see hardening of the organism. That's where we see polyps appearing, where we see arthritic conditions appearing. And then if stones, absolutely, stones in the kidney, the bladder, the gallbladder, gallstones, absolutely. This is a very advanced, if you have gallstones or kidney stones or bladder stones, it's a very advanced stage of the disease process. And then what comes after the hardening stage of disease is cancer. And cancer is the end stage of the disease process. And really, nature cure is not for trying to cure people who are right at that end stage of the disease process. Nature cure is there to educate you so you don't get there, like there's no, as you said before, health is not a lottery. It's not like, oh God, you're so lucky, you managed to get, obviously we can be born with better or lesser quality of tissue depending on who our parents were and what state of health they were in. But essentially health is about how you manage what you've been given throughout your life. You're either building disease or you're building health. And so if disease appears somewhere in the body, we don't go, oh, it's like saying what the body is doing is wrong. Why do I have, this beautiful, beautiful young girl I saw this, she's only 13, she had this great big patch of psoriasis over her knee and it was weeping pus. And she was so beautiful and young, and I just thought to myself, wow, that's a really chronic state to be seeing in such a young child. But, I know some history of this girl. I know she was born with waste material from the parents. So her skin I've known her for a long time, her body has always used her skin to eliminate excess of waste material from the bloodstream. But unfortunately, there's been suppression gone on. And so now she's at a point where she's got big patches of psoriasis, what the medical industry would call psoriasis, and it's pus and it's weeping. And I said to the parents, absolutely no more stopping of this. We don't stop this. We let this drain, drainage.
So we get some question here,
Yeah,
Victoria.
great.
From SP, he asks, some old and sick people keep suppressing by taking medicines.
Correct.
I've seen they prolong their life, which in fact is unproductive, and they live like vegetable, but extend their life. Is this correct? So extension of life. So we talked about hastening the demise. So it's a counter question to that,
Yeah.
prolonging their life through medication. What is your viewpoint on that?
Well, I say, who says they're prolonging their life? Really, they're not prolonging their life. They are not prolonging their life. They are suppressing one symptom, and they're trading it for another. And I don't know if it's like this in India, but in Australia, you go to the pharmacy or the chemist, and they have these boxes like this, and they have little compartments in these boxes, and it's basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes,
you know, morning. Yeah, you know, like this is, you know. So and I don't know if you've heard of this, the saying iatrogenic diseases. Now, this is diseases that are caused by the medication people are taking, and the medical industry is very, very aware that the drugs they are supplying people might be curing one disease, but they're causing another disease, and this is what they call iatrogenic disease. And so these old people who basically rattle because they take so many medications during the course of the day, they are not prolonging their life. All they're doing is suppressing symptoms, and the symptom complex is getting more and more worse. And like you said, their quality of life is going down, and they are like vegetables. So nature cure is about quality.
I'd like to comment on that.
Yeah,
that
please
prolonging the life. What do you mean by prolonging their life, and in comparison to what? So at a specific stage, if they are taking medicine and they are prolonging their life, so it's a mere comparison of that specific time of the life and prolonging of that. Just think about the other condition where the individual has not opted suppression for years, and that time the life duration will be much more than what
longer
is now after being prolonged.
Absolutely.
So much longer if the suppression was not adopted in the life.
In the first
here
place.
We are talking about the hastening of the demise in case they opt suppression repeatedly. So
absolutely.
Comparison has to be taken at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've seen that in Australia here they say, oh, the population is aging, you know, we're living longer, and I say that's rubbish. That's absolutely rubbish. Our population is not living longer. Our population, and we are not living longer, and we are living in the most chronic state of disease ever in the history of the human organism. You know, in fact, there was an interesting thing on the mainstream newspaper a few months ago saying that the current generations are not going to live as long as their parents. They're not. Absolutely they're not. Because, you know, if the minute they're born, we fill them full of vaccinations, we suppress every fever they have. You know, there's an ad on TV, oh no, my baby's got a fever, and I'm going to reach for baby Panadol or baby whatever the preparation it is, you know, and that's the first nail in the coffin of your child. And suppression just starts from the moment we pop those little suckers out, and that's exactly it. And their diet is rubbish. You know, when I think about my diet as a child, my diet wasn't anywhere near as healthy as it is now, but still I was living on, you know, normal, you know, natural foods. You know, it was, you know, I had meat in my diet, I had too much dairy in my diet, a lot of cooked food in my diet, but it was still fresh food. You know, it wasn't, you know, pre-packaged manufactured food that our children these days are just being raised on. These, you know, these completely foodless foods. This is what they're building their cells and tissues out of, and we are going to see an absolute epidemic of chronic illness getting younger and younger and younger in our population. And this is where Nature Cure really steps away from the herd, steps away from the mass mentality, and we say, look, we've got to stop this now. And, you know, your health is, you know, wonderful saying. The good news is your health is in your hands. And the bad news is your health is in your hands. And that's it, really. You know, you have to take control of your own health. Because, you know, if you think that you can smoke cigarettes and eat meat and drink Coca-Cola for your whole life, and at some point some amazing scientist is going to come up with a pill that's going to cure all your problems, then you must believe that there are also fairies down the bottom of the garden, because it's never going to happen. Disease is a process, and you cannot cure the process.
Yeah. There are comments, a few comments. We'll just take another 5 minutes. Prolonging, Nandini says, prolonging life means replacing a disease organ, for example, dialysis. So, right. So SP commented back, this I said because as per statistics, life expectancy has gone up from the past. But I agree with your and Victoria's answer. Yes, SP. So that life expectancy, all calculations has a different baseline.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that comparison aspect, right? So right, guys, so I think we are closing to our end of this session. So guys, you are welcome to contact us for your personal problems.
Any more questions?
Victoria's, any more questions are not there right now. You can actually put the questions in the comment also. We'll get back to that after the live is ended then also. And you guys can join us during our different activities. Like for example, in September, we have a conference in Bikaner, where Victoria also will be available, though online this time. But it will be very interesting conference to know the life and nature together.
Yes.
So to sync our life with nature, that's the objective of that conference.
Yes.
And I have personally course workshop coming up in Mumbai next month, 13th and 14th. In my timeline, you'll find the notifications. If you would like to join, you're welcome. That's it from our side. Anything, Victoria? We can conclude the session otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us today. I hope it's encouraged you to think a little bit differently and think about, you know, any modality of treatment, really. Anything that's treating a symptom is suppressing it, either or stimulating the body, and this is not health. This is not a cure. This has not done anything to improve the overall health of the organism. When I talk to people, I say, if you want to really get healthy, as opposed to just masking your symptoms, then Nature Cure will get you there. So, keep your eyes open and your mind broad and learn.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Victoria, for
your time.
Much.
Thank you, Kalyan.
Nandini,
it's been a pleasure once again.
Comment. A lot of people are on life support. Yes, so because of the lot of suppression, for sure. So life support is also another suppression.
Absolutely. You know, if I can just take one moment to say, you know, talking about dialysis, you know, dialysis is where we have, for people where we have kidney failure, you know, like the kidneys are the most amazing, mighty organ of the body. Their whole purpose is to eliminate waste material from the bloodstream, and it's so important that we are eliminating this waste material all the time, that the minute we have kidney failure, death. And so these people, their kidneys have failed. Like, why have their kidneys failed? Their kidneys have failed because of years of wrong living and years of suppression. And so now the last ditch effort is to keep this person on dialysis, let a machine do for the body what the body can no longer do for the body. Is that living? Is there any quality of life? Is there any quality of life? No.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
with that note, we'll conclude today's session, and we'll keep on coming. And it's been enjoyable and pleasurable to have you all in the session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.